Shalom, friends. Let's discuss who is a Jew and what it means according to the Tanakh. The Torah's definition of a Jew is simply someone who comes from the tribe of Judah. Jacob had 12 sons, which make up the 12 tribes of Israel. One of his sons was named Judah, and all of his patrilineal descendants within the nation of Israel from that point on would then be considered to be Jews from the tribe of Judah. During the First Temple period, eventually the 12 tribes of Israel were split up into two kingdoms, the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. The kingdom of Judah was composed of mainly the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. But after the First Temple was destroyed, Israel went into the Babylonian exile, and then they came back to build the Second Temple. During this time, the word Jew took on a slightly more inclusive meaning among the people of Israel. For example, in the book of Esther, the man, Mordechai, is described in this manner. Esther Chapter 2, verse 5. There was a Judean man in Shushan the capital, whose name was Mordechai, the son of Yair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjaminite. In this verse, Mordechai is described as being both a Jew, or Yehudi in Hebrew, and also being of the tribe of Benjamin. So which is it? Is Mordechai of the tribe of Judah, or is he of the tribe of Benjamin? The book of Esther sheds light into this elsewhere. The Jews are referred to as being Mordechai's people in Esther chapter 3, verse 6, the same group of people who Haman wished to completely eliminate. We can deduce from this that the Jews refers to a more general group of people who were exiled, including the tribes of Benjamin, Judah, and any other remaining tribes of Israel which were exiled to Persia. But if you're familiar with the story of the book of Esther, Haman's plans were foiled, and the Jews were able to turn the tables on Haman, thus culminating in the biblical festival that Jews celebrate to this very day called Purim. But the book of Esther broadens this definition of being a Jew even further than simply being descended from the tribes of Israel, as we see clearly in Esther chapter 8, verses 16 and 17. The Jews had light and joy and gladness and honor, and in every province and in every city, wherever the king's order and his edict reached, there was joy and gladness for the Jews, a banquet and a festive day. And many of the peoples of the land became Jews because the fear of the Jews was upon them. According to Esther chapter 8, verse 17, it is possible to become a Jew. This alone disproves any notion of the Jews being a monolithic race of people. Also, as you probably already know, King David's great-grandmother Ruth was a Moabite who also became a Jew through conversion, as well as the Ammonite Naamah, the mother of Rehoboam, the first king of the kingdom of Judah and the son of King Solomon, who was, of course, the son of King David, who was, of course, a Jew. So now that we've debunked the silly idea that Jews can only be from one race, who exactly are the Jews today? Well, the book of Esther also sheds some prophetic light on that as well. With regards to the celebration of the holiday of Purim, this is what it says in Esther chapter 9, verses 27 through 32. The Jews ordained and took upon themselves and upon their seed and upon all those who joined them that it is not to be revoked to make these two holidays according to their script and according to their appointed time every year. And these days shall be remembered and celebrated throughout every generation, in every family, every province, and every city. And these days of Purim shall not be revoked from amidst the Jews, and their memory shall not cease from their seed. Now, Queen Esther, the daughter of Abihail, And Mordecai the Jew wrote down all the acts of power to confirm the second Purim letter. And he sent letters to all the Jews to 127 provinces, the realm of Ahasuerus, words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their appointed times, as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had ordained for themselves and for their seed these matters of the fasts and their cry. Now, Esther's order confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was inscribed in the book. So, if you are reading these verses and you don't know what they are talking about, then more than likely, you are not a Jew. This prophecy in the book of Esther clearly states that the memory of celebrating the festival of Purim shall not cease from their seed. It just so happens that rabbinic Jews around the world have been celebrating Purim for over 2,000 years since the destruction of the Second Temple and beyond. Coincidence? No. We are the Jews of the Bible, and our keeping of the festival of Purim is our prophetic assurance of this fact. If your people do not have a tradition of celebrating Purim due to some unknown amnesia, well, I hate to break it to you, you're probably not descended from Jews. The prophet Zechariah was a contemporary of Mordecai, and he also speaks about the Jews in Zechariah Chapter 8, verses 19 through 23, concerning the future Messianic era. Zechariah Chapter 8, verse 19 states, "So said the Lord of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th month, the fast of the 7th month, and the fast of the 10th month shall be for the house of Judah for joy and happiness, and for happy holidays, but love, truth, and peace." Now, if you read this verse and you had no idea what it was talking about, once again, you're probably not of the house of Judah. On the other hand, if you're a rabbinic Jew, then you have a tradition for over 2,000 years of keeping these biblical fasts, which all commemorate the destruction of the Holy Temple, and look forward to the day when we will not have to fast anymore, and we will celebrate them for happy holidays when the future Third Temple is built in the future Messianic era. As Zechariah Chapter 8, verses 20 through 23 states, "So said the Lord of hosts, there will yet be a time that peoples and the inhabitants of many cities shall come, and the inhabitants of one shall go to another, saying, Let us go to pray before the Lord, and to entreat the Lord of hosts. I too will go. And many peoples and powerful nations shall come to entreat the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem, and to pray before the Lord. So said the Lord of hosts, in those days, when 10 men of all the languages of the nations shall take hold of the skirt of a man who is a Jew, saying, Let us go with you, for we have heard that God is with you." When we read Zechariah chapter 8, verse 23 in context with Zechariah chapter 8, verse 19, the picture of who a Jew is becomes clear. The true Jews have been fasting and mourning the destruction of the temple for over 2,000 years. If you've never heard of Tisha B'Av, the saddest day of the year for Jews, then you're probably not a Jew. Rabbinic Jews have fasted for over 2,000 years to commemorate the destruction of both holy temples, and according to Zechariah chapter 8, verses 19 through 23, and the book of Esther, we are the true Jews of the Bible. But there's good news for you. No matter what your race or color of your skin, you too can become a rabbinic Jew through proper Orthodox conversion. If not, then you'll just have to wait until the future Messianic age, when Zechariah chapter 8 verse 23 comes to fulfillment. Clearly, it will be the Gentiles who will come to the rabbinic Jews to learn the truth of God in the future Messianic era, not the other way around. Shalom.